The recent wave of aggressive tariffs announced by the Trump administration has shaken global markets and exposed the inherent contradictions of America's position in the world order. Far from being fair or reciprocal, these tariffs reflect a troubling departure from established norms, revealing a naked exceptionalism that threatens to unravel decades of multilateral cooperation. Trump's tariffs, seemingly calculated by arbitrary methods, are framed as necessary to correct America's massive trade deficits. However, experts quickly unraveled these justifications, uncovering a simplistic approach where trade deficits were crudely divided by imports and halved arbitrarily, creating tariffs with little logical or economic grounding. Countries with no trade barriers against the US, like Australia, were inexplicably caught in Trump's tariff crossfire, highlighting the irrationality at the policy's core. Even US allies are realizing that America's commitment to the international rules it helped create is fleeting at best, illusory at worst. These tariffs aim to force global companies, many of them American, to relocate manufacturing back to US soil. Yet the move ignores the complexities of modern production. Supply chains today are globally integrated, making Trump's nationalist agenda costly and impractical. Rather than rejuvenating American industry, these tariffs will inflate costs for US consumers, disrupt American-owned businesses abroad, and ultimately burden American shareholders. The ramifications extend far beyond US borders. Trump's tariff war, especially with China, is not just about trade. It's about reshaping global power dynamics. China's swift retaliatory tariffs and targeted economic policies clearly indicate a readiness to pivot trade away from the US and toward Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. As China increases tariffs on American products, it opens its enormous markets to alternative suppliers, effectively cushioning other nations from American economic aggression. Strategically, this is catastrophic for the US long-term interests. The Chinese response isn't merely retaliation, it's a calculated strategy to accelerate the decline of the US dollar's dominance. With America recklessly isolating itself, other nations see an opportunity to establish currency multipolarity and robust multilateral trade blocs independent of US interference. Critically, the US misdiagnoses its economic ailment. The decline in American manufacturing wasn't caused by unfair trade deals or foreign competitors alone. It was driven fundamentally by America's own financialization and capital flight from productive sectors towards speculative financial markets. Without addressing these structural issues, education, infrastructure, energy, telecommunications, and capital goods, tariffs alone will do nothing but deepen America's economic woes. Globally, countries now face a stark choice. Nations heavily dependent on the US market, like Canada and Mexico, are scrambling to diversify. Countries less reliant on US trade are swiftly building stronger regional alliances. Asia-Pacific nations, including Australia, Japan, South Korea, and China, are intensifying intra-regional cooperation, creating new trade pathways that circumvent American markets altogether. As former allies rethink their strategies, Trump's tariffs paradoxically serve as an unintended gift, propelling the world toward a post-American economic order. In essence, America is sabotaging the very global institutions and trade networks it painstakingly built over the past 70 years, repeating historical mistakes such as the dismantling of the Bretton Woods system. While Trump's immediate political goals may be domestic populism and economic nationalism, the long-term consequences could permanently diminish US influence. By choosing coercion over collaboration, the Trump administration risks alienating even its closest partners. Ultimately, this tariff crisis is more than an economic issue. It's a turning point in global history. Trump's reckless gamble is inadvertently pushing the world toward economic independence from the United States, reshaping global power structures in ways that could profoundly diminish American dominance for decades to come.